Are energy rods Adidas's answer to Nike Air? Let's discuss. So for as long as an EDDBUD can remember, Nike Air was the sneaker or running shoe mystery, the magic, and the innovation that was the must-have in your midsole. Certainly when I was a young man, if you didn't have Nike Air, you were a nobody, and I was a nobody. I'm not sure that back in 1978 Nike realised that they'd stumbled upon a technology there that they'd still be using 40 years later. They incorporated an air unit into the midsole of that Nike Tailwind, and it really gave them a unique selling point. Something else that Adidas, who were the big competitor at the time, actually in fact Adidas were just massively bigger than Nike at that point. It really gave them something that they could sell to people, something that was very unique and singular to their company. Tinker Hatfield knew that, and he did everything he could to try and exploit Nike Air, those air sole units, so that people could see them. He tried to display them as clearly as possible without any barriers. I think at the time technology really wasn't quite there to just have the air sole out on its own. People were really worried about the fact that it might break or burst or whatever when they were using it. I mean, we do have the Nike Air Max Pre-Day that they released a little while back, which has got a completely exposed air sole unit. It's kind of nuts, but there it is. That's what it looks like without all the foam around it. Tinker Hatfield knew that if they wanted to maximise the potential of that technology, it had to be there for people to see. Obviously it improved the comfort of the ride under the foot, but it's also something which leapt out at athletes and consumers alike. So on the screen at the moment you see that Air Max 1. Tinker Hatfield designed that so he cut out part of the heel section so you can actually see the air unit that was originally embedded into the midsole. And it's still there in today's lineup, isn't it? Albeit now fully exposed in the Pre-Day. Other manufacturers' technologies have come and gone over the years, haven't they? Not all of them have stuck around. Who remembers the Reebok pump system? What about the Puma disc as well? And of course Nike's own shock system, which surfaced in 2000. Although that one disappeared into history, I think it was very popular with the actor Hugh Laurie. I think he's got hundreds of pairs of them. And you often see him wearing some stuff like that in the TV series House. So are those recently released Adidas energy rod equipped shoes Adidas's take on Nike Air? Or is it something else? That mysterious carbon plate-like technology first appeared in the ADIZERO ADIOS Pro last year, a shoe that it almost feels like it was never properly released. There are only a handful of different colourways, and when they did drop, there were very limited numbers. It seems like Adidas almost deliberately starved the supply of that shoe, with people just unable to grab them. I remember when I got mine, it was sold out within minutes. Now though, we see a triple release of energy rod equipped shoes. That ADIZERO line's now got the Boston 10, the ADIOS Pro 2, and of course the huge and humongous PRIMEX. The Boston 10 there with an underfoot midsole cutout to display the slightly different rods. I think they're more flexible in the midsole. And of course we've got the more expensive ADIOS Pro 2. There we got the standard energy rods on display with a huge cutout here around the arch area. Let's not forget the PRIMEX as well. It's got the same energy rods as in the ADIOS Pro 2, but also some carbon infused blades. It's certainly a big package from the Three Stripe brand. The PRIMEX has really proved popular so far. I think it's pretty much sold out in the UK. You can pick up a pair if you're in a men's UK size 4.5 or 5. Even EDDBUD of 1990 wouldn't have been able to pick up a pair. I think I was a size 6 by then. I see some significant similarities in the way that Adidas have been marketing their new energy rod technology. Not just that, the whole ADIZERO line in fact. Very similar to the way that the swoosh still sails on that Nike Air technology. We got a similar product line as well now that Adidas have established. The Boston 10 to me seems like a take on the Nike Zoom Fly, a more affordable and slightly cheaper alternative to the higher end shoes. A slightly different implementation of those energy rods or the carbon plate, whereas the Zoom Fly is kind of pitched at being a Next Percent alternative, in the same way that the Tempo Next Percent is set up as being a slightly cheaper alternative to the Alphafly Next Percent with a more flexible nylon plate, although it's quite a lot more expensive if you compare the Boston 10 to the Tempo Next Percent. A big difference here though is the weights of some of those Adidas shoes. when I look at the weights for my UK size 11.5 or US 12, the ADIOS 6, the ADIOS Pro 2 and the original plus that Boston 10 are all coming in quite a bit higher than some of Nike's more race themed shoes. It makes some of the top end Nike shoes seem vastly lighter, and that's going to make a difference over the miles. I know I've talked about weight in the past, but if you're going to run a half marathon or a marathon, weight is going to be an issue towards the end of those races for you. If you can find a lighter shoe that works, then surely it's going to be an advantage. In training, not so much. On the flip side of that argument, almost all of the Nike daily training shoes that have been released over the last year or so are about 100 grams heavier than their racing shoes. I mean, that obviously directs people to have a larger shoe rotation, buy more shoes, one for daily use, one for racing and such. Nike do seem to be relying on that React foam quite a lot recently, and less on Zoom Air. React does seem to be a very heavy foam, especially as you scale the shoe sizes up. I mean, Lightstrike Pro is just massively more compressive there. And let's not forget that Adidas have started implementing that foam into even their cheaper shoes. You see a slither of it here in the ADIOS 6, which is only 110 Earth credits here in the UK. If you're looking to get a Zoom X shoe, I mean, the cheapest one you can probably find right now is the Tempo Next Percent at £160. I think by all accounts, the Boston 10 appears to be more of a daily cruiser. Not so sure it's a race-themed shoe anymore. It was a lot of people's race shoe. Even the Boston 9. I don't think this will be the last time that we see Adidas experimenting with slightly different, more flexible energy rods in some of their cheaper offerings. I'm almost certain that sometimes these rods or plates are put in to provide some sort of stability as we get softer and softer midsole foams. I mean, the compression level here, even in the ADIOS 6 of that Lightstrike Pro, is huge. You've got that slightly more rubberized feel that you get from the P-back stuff that's in the Zoom X foam. Adidas are certainly onto something with that Lightstrike Pro foam, but we all know stability creeps away as that cushion increases. Will Adidas find a way of making the foam or rubber perhaps on the outsole of the shoe translucent so that you can actually see the energy rods? I mean, it's just intriguing, isn't it? You see that and think, ooh, I want it. What does that do? Will we perhaps see a more lightweight budget version or implementation of the energy rods, perhaps in like an SL21? That'll be fun. I mean, Adidas have shown they're not adverse to completely turning a model on its head like the Boston series. Nobody expected them to do that and increase the cushion and the stack. The Boston was always about more sensible and conservative cushion. By the way, guys, I have caved in and bought a pair of the Boston 10, and they'll be arriving this week. The viewers demanded it. When my viewers want something, I've got to try and fulfill their dreams, like a cushion catalyst or an outsole instigator. Just shows how poor my resistance is, doesn't it? Absolutely pathetic. It's the law of that three-stripe rod and midsole magic. What do you make of this talking point, guys? Do you think that energy rods are going to be here to stay? Have Adidas got something so unique? Will people keep lapping it up for years to come? Maybe in 40 years, people will still be using energy rod shoes. I'll do another video in 40 years' time and we'll see where we are. I'll be 82 then, so yeah, maybe I'll still be running. Hope so. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. A musical interlude for you. You guys know I'm an England fan. I'm a big football fan. I'm really enjoying the European Championships so far. I've just started to believe now that England have got into the last 16 of the tournament. I'm just starting to believe, and I put on 3 Lions the other day. And I've got to say, it blasted me right back to 1996, Euro 96. Amazing. I remember being at a friend's house and we put loads of orange items together because Uri Geller told us to do it. We need to get Uri Geller out now. Maybe he can help us. But 3 Lions is that perfect track. You know, it's got the coolness because you've got the lightning seeds, good production. It's got that indie sort of alternative guitar vibe. You've got Skinner and Baddiel, and they've managed to fuse together those things with what people really want from a football song. It's got to be memorable. It's got to have some sentimentality there. It features all those historic moments, you know, that true fans are really into. They got it just right. And I know other countries have kind of picked up the song and tried to use it, but it's always going to be an England song. Certainly one of the best football songs out there. I really like Back Home, actually. That's a good one. Some of you may never have heard that before, but that's a cracking tune. Back Home is a really good England tune. I really like the New Order track as well, World in Motion, that's a good one, with the Barnes rap, John Barnes showing his talents other than football. I just love everything about Three Lions. You can crank it up and it's got some good production on it, the words, everything, it's just so memorable. It makes me cry almost every time, just thinking, could it be this time we might just do it? Three Lions, Skinner and Baddiel, and the Lightning Seeds. Right, it's coming home apparently, so I'm going to go and drink some tea and some biscuits and get this video edited for you. If you haven't done so already, we're almost at 20,000 subscribers. I think as it stands right now, we're about 15 away. So if you haven't done so, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications of when we roll those new videos out for you. It really does help the channel out as well if you give this video a thumbs up, like, and share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD, and I'll be seeing you